Okay, continuing with our quoter app, there's actually not going to be any new Ajax here. We actually started out by using the jQuery Ajax function. So what I'm going to do now is just try to refine our quoter a little bit here. In the interest of full disclosure, I played around a little bit with the CS3 animations and transitions, and I did not have any luck. So hopefully I can come back and show how we can use some of those later, but I'm going to move on here with the more structural kind of programming, and we'll see if we can't get back into that later on. So this is our original Ajax quoter that we developed previously, and I've made a few changes here. I've added the master quote file. It has all the quotes for everybody in the class. And one of the things I want to do now is I want to go ahead and make the button that stops the quote feed actually toggle it. And in this case, I already have the code in here. So I'll just review it with you and then demonstrate it. So if we come on down here, the first thing I did is I created a feed flag, which is a Boolean variable, and that's going to indicate whether or not the quote feed is active. And by default, when it comes on, it will be true, so the feed will be there. And then I also moved my reference up here because I like to keep things neat. So my quote feed is the actual set interval variable. So here you can see in the initial code, this is not new, I go ahead and set the interval to use the get new quote function and to call that every 3 seconds. And then now I've added this button here. I've added this function here, which I'm going to assign to my quit button object. And this is where I've changed the code. So notice the first thing it does is it says if the feed flag is true, that means that we're running. So that means the user is pushing this to stop the feed. So we'll go ahead and change the quit button test to start the feed. We're toggling the text. And then window clear interval will stop the feed. And then we set the feed flag to false. Next time we come in here and the user clicks, now they want to turn the feed on. This will fail because the feed's not already on. We'll change the button to say stop, and we'll set the quote feed just like we did initially here. So this line of code is just the same as the one we used initially. And then we'll also update our Boolean flag to indicate that the quote feed is going. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. It's working already. And again, I'm going to use Firefox because that seems to like the JSON locally and I don't have to mess. So again, you can see that the feed is working here. And also you can tell that I'm using the data set that we got from the class. Okay. And then if I stop the feed, the button toggles to now say start feed. And if I click on that, the feed will start back up. Okay? Now, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is we want to go ahead and implement the ability to search the quotes. And if we're going to do that, it doesn't really make sense to have the feed running. So when I add buttons to this and I improve the app to have the search functionality, I want to be able to stop the feed. Okay? All right, let's go ahead. There's one other thing I wanted to show you. You notice how I've changed this a little bit so I have the commas in here in the tags. That's a simple fix in the code. Let's go back into the code here. Remember I used that join method here, and this is what you use as a delimiter when you join. So I just added the comma in there. I think that works better for the individual tags. Okay? All right. Not sure why. Oh, okay. This is a debugging statement. Let's go ahead and get rid of that while we're here. I'll save the code. Okay, so I think that's good for a video, and we'll come back and start to implement the search functionality here in a second. Okay?